بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي أما بعد. So last week we started to discuss and talk about the adab and the etiquettes of entering and leaving the house. So the first thing we mentioned was when we enter the house, we enter with the right foot and we say Bismillah and read the dua and do salam on the people. And when we enter or we exit, we don't push the door violently or leave it to close by itself widely, but rather be gentle when entering or exiting with the door as well. And when people are asleep, then we should not disturb them and wake them up. And when we enter a house, then you should say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, as this will be a means of blessing for everyone in the house. And also we learned that we should announce our presence when we enter the house. So inshallah today we'll look at seeking permission to enter the house, knocking and ringing, and answering the door. So Sheikh says 2.5, seeking permission to enter. If family members, they are resting in their rooms and you want to join them when they are resting in their rooms, then it is appropriate to ask for permission or knock on the door. So you ask them, can I come in? Or you knock on the door before you enter. Otherwise, Sheikh says, you may see them in the condition that you or they, for that matter, they may not like. So you might see them in a condition you might not like, or they might not like the condition they are in and would not want you to see them in that condition. So this applies to your entire household. So your immediate family or otherwise. Anyone in the household, we have to make sure that we knock before we enter their room. In the Mu'atta, by Ata ibn Yasir, Imam Malik rahmatullah alayhi narrates that a person asked Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam that should I seek permission to enter my mother's room? The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, yes, seek permission. So the man said, but we live together in the same house. So if in the same house, then, we don't need to seek permission. So he was saying, if in the same house, then, what's the actual need to ask permission? The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam then said, ask for permission to join her. But the man argued that I am a servant, in the same house I am a servant, so why should I need to seek permission? Then the Prophet ﷺ said to him, ask for permission. And then he asked him, would you like to see her naked? The man replied, no. So Rasulullah ﷺ then said, then ask permission when entering. A person asked Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu, that should I ask permission to enter my mother's room? He answered, yes. There are certain circumstances in which you would rather not see her. Zainab, the wife of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu, said that upon reaching the door, he used to make noise. So this is his wife. Okay, he's entering the room where his wife is. She says that whenever he would come upon the door, he would make a noise, fearing that he may surprise us and encounter us in an embarrassing situation. So he didn't want them to feel embarrassed or catch them out in an embarrassing situation. That's why he would make some sort of noise before he would enter. A man once asked Huzaifa ibn al-Yaman radiallahu anhu, should I seek permission to enter my mother's? He replied, yes. If you do not ask her for permission, you may encounter an embarrassing situation. So you can see that from different hadith and riwayat, we learn this etiquette. Musa, who was the son of Talha ibn Ubaidullah radiallahu anhu, he says, my father went to my mother's room. I followed him. And as he entered, he turned towards me and, pushed me like this a bit. And I was forced to sit down. And then he reprimanded me and he said that, how dare you enter without permission? Meaning that you should not enter without permission. Always seek the permission to enter. Ata ibn Rabah asked Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, should I seek permission when calling on my two sisters? Now let's do with siblings. Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, he answered, yes, I said, I am their guardian, I am their supporter and provider of their needs. So I do everything for them. So he said, would you rather see them naked? And then he replied, and then he recited the Quranic verse. And when the children amongst you come of age, let them ask for permission, as do those senior to them in age. Thus does Allah make clear His signs. Allah is full of knowledge and wisdom. So in this ayah we learn, in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, when children reach the age, come of age of baligh, they become mature, then they should ask permission. And also those who are senior to them in age, they should also ask permission. So we learn that seeking permission is actually also a Quranic hukam and order Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us in the Quran. Then Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu concluded that asking permission is obligatory for all people. So Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu, he said, a person should seek permission whenever entering the room of a father, mother, brother and sister. Jabir also said, a person should seek permission whenever entering the room of a son, a daughter, a mother, even if she is old, a brother, a sister or a father. So basically, whenever we go to anyone's room, we should always knock on the door and seek permission, because we don't want to catch them in an embarrassing situation. The next one, knocking and ringing, 2.6. Sheikh says, knock at the door or ring the door's bell in a pleasant way and not louder than is necessary to make your presence known. He says, do not knock loudly and violently or ring the bell continuously, because sometimes what happens is we bang on the door or keep on ringing, tee, 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 tee. So Sheikh, he says we should not do that. You remember that you are a visitor and not a thug or an oppressor who is raiding the house and frightening its occupants. He says a woman came to Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal rahmatullah alayh seeking his opinion on some religious matter. So she banged on the door very, very loudly. So he came out and said that this is the banging of a policeman, because when the police come, they bang on the door, open up, open up. So he says to teach her that this is not the etiquette and the way of knocking on the door. Imam Bukhari reported in Adabul Mufrad that the Sahaba of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they would knock on the door of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam with the tips of their nails. So the tips of the nails, they would silently knock. That's a bit loud, like this. A bit very lightly. That's how the Sahaba would knock on the door of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This nimble and gentle knocking or ringing is appropriate for those whose living quarters are close to the door. Okay, so meaning that you are on the door, then that's fine. For those living further from the door, then it is appropriate to knock on their door or ring the bell loud enough to enable them to hear without banging. So the main thing is you don't bang. If you have to do a bit more louder, consistent, that's fine, but it shouldn't be a source of annoyance. In this regard, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, gentleness adorns every act. Its absence will tarnish it. In addition, the Prophet also said, whoever lacks kindness or goodness, graciousness, they lack all good things. So then also in the Ottoman Empire, they used to have two knockers on all the doors. So one, they used to have a small knocker, and one, they used to have a large knocker. So if a woman would come, then the woman would use the small knocker to knock on the door. So the people of the home, they would know that because the sound would be a bit more softer, then they would know that it's a woman who is on the door, and the woman of the house, she would go and open the door. And if it was a man, then they would use the large knocker, and because the knocking would be a bit more louder than usual, then they would know that it's a man, and the man would go and open the door. This was a level of haya and modesty and adab and respect in the Ottoman Empire. And then Sheikh says, leave an adequate time between two knocks or rings. So leave some time. This will enable those performing wudu or praying salah or eating to finish without rushing. So leave some time, knock a bit, stand up back a bit, and then knock a bit or ring and then stand back. Don't rush the people to come and open the door, because they might be involved in doing something. Some scholars estimate this interval to be that of praying 4 rakats. So praying 4 rakats takes around what? 8 minutes, 7 minutes individually, usually. So 10 minutes, so that's the amount of time that we should wait when we knock on the door. Keep in mind that a person may have just started the salah just before you rang the doorbell. So basically, you knocked on the door, they might have just started salah. So you have to wait and not keep on ringing and inconveniencing them. And he says that after 3 spaced knocks or intermittent rings, you may feel that the person you came to see is busy. Otherwise, he or she would have answered you. So you knock, you wait, and then you knock a bit, and then you wait, and then you knock a bit, and then you wait. Now, if the person, he was able to, open the door, they would have come by that time. But maybe they are busy or doing something, and they can't come and open to you. Then you should, in this case, Sheikh says you should leave. Imam Bukhari and Muslim report that Rasulullah ﷺ said, if you ask permission 3 times and were not granted permission, then you must leave. So we should always do it maximum of 3 times, and if there's no permission, then we leave. While waiting for permission, do not stand in front of the door. So don't stand right in front. Sheikh says, stand to the right or the left. So on one side, because if they open the door, you might end up seeing inside or what it is. So stand on the side out of adab and respect. Rasulullah ﷺ, upon coming to someone's door, he avoided facing the door directly. Instead, he would stand to the right or to the left of the door. And that's the adab. That because sometimes someone might open and also, we shouldn't look inside and try to peek inside the house. Rather, keep our gaze lowered. And if a woman answers the door, then we can keep our gaze lowered if you're a man, and then you can speak to her. Or if it's a man at the door, then if you're a man, then you can look up and you can speak to them. Or if you're a woman and then a man opens up, then you can carry on looking down and speaking to them. Or if a woman opens up, and then you can speak to them. So this is the basic adab of when we knock on the door and regarding opening the door. The next adab etiquette is answering who is it. Sheikh says, if you knock on the door, you may be asked who is it. So he says, identify yourself using your most common name, but don't say, oh, it's me, or it's somebody, or guess who it is. Okay, why? Because these words are useless in identifying who is at the door. You should not assume that your voice is known to the person or those who live in there, because your voice may resemble another person's voice. So what it is that you say, knock, 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 who is it? Guess who? Or it's me. So here we should not say it's me or guess who or any of these words, because not everyone can recognize your voice. Sometimes people have similar voices, so they might think, oh, it's you, but you turn out to be someone else. So don't forget that people differ in their ability to distinguish voices. So some people might recognize who you are, but some people may not. So always mention the name by which you are known to the people of the house. The Prophet ﷺ discouraged people from saying it's me, because it does not reveal your name. Imam Bukhari and Muslim reported that Jabir ibn Abdullah radiallahu anhu, he said that I came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and I knocked on his door. And he asked, who is it? So he said, I answered, it's me. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam disapproved. And he said, me is me, me is me. Like this, it's approving tone. For this reason, the Sahaba, they used to mention their names whenever they were asked, who is it? So Imam Bukhari and Muslim report that Abu Dharr radiallahu anhu, he said that while walking out one night, I saw Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was walking by himself. So he says, I opted to walk in the shade of the moon, but he turned round and saw me and he said, who is there? So he was walking, but on the shade of the moon. Who is it? Who is there behind? So he said, Ya Rasulullah, it is me, Abu Dharr. So he told his name at who he was. Bukhari and Muslim also report that Hani, a cousin of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the sister of Ali ibn Abi Talib anhu, she said, I came to see Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he was taking a bath. And his daughter Fatima, she was sheltering him. And he asked, who is it? So she says, I replied, I am Hani. So after the Prophet ﷺ told them that you have to mention your name, so they always used to mention their name whenever they were asked, who is it? So even when we phone someone as well, the number, you don't recognize whose number it is, then always mention who you are. So always say that my name is this and I'm calling for this reason. So the same way we knock on the door, the same reason as well. And also, for example, sometimes it happens that you have set a meeting with someone, or you've agreed to meet at someone's house, and then you knock on the door and they don't open. So you probably think that, you know what, he told me to come by this time, now he's opening the door, so you become angry and stuff. No, don't be. Now we have phone calls as well, so you can give them a phone call at the same time. And regarding knocking as well, we can apply the same etiquette and adab when it comes to the phone as well. Because sometimes we phone someone and they don't answer, so we keep on ringing and ringing, give them like a 10 missed calls, 100 missed calls. No, give them, ring them, and then wait for a bit, and then ring them again, wait for a bit, ring them again. If they don't answer, then leave it. So don't give them loads of missed calls, or leave a message and say, look, I was calling for this and this. So these are the etiquettes when it comes to interaction. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us from those who adhere to the etiquettes, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us good akhlaq and good manners. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.